Yeah, no, it says we're streaming to the right place. There we go. Hold on a second here. There we go. Okay, cool. It's working. All right, so that's why. Now I'm ready to roll. Okay. All good. So sorry for the wait. I was just waiting I was sending the transmission and I was just waiting for it to appear. So what I'll do now is I'll pause the video, pop out the chat window just to save me some bandwidth so that I'm not getting the video feed back to me. There we go. Good. Okay, so let's start off with Marley. I'm going to do a couple of warm-up songs just to get things rolling. I'm turning on the chorus pedal. Hello, hello. right, so that was Marley from my second album. All right, so let's go through some of these here. We've got some questions popping in. How you doing, Jamie, Billy, Weston, Tyler, Dimitri, Javier, Sean. Winter by the Sea, I'll play that a bit later. Jamie Layton, how's it going? Long time. William saw you in Eugene. Yeah, I remember that. That was a fun night. All right, so when it comes to requests, so like certain songs I haven't done for a long time, so I've got quite a few out there. So if some of them are like repeatedly requested, but it's not performance ready, what I could do, and I've been doing this lately, is I devote a Twitch practice stream to it. So I'll just pull up the song and just kind of learn all the bits live on Twitch and just kind of explain how it comes back into my memory and all that. Let's see what we got here. Andy, what do I hear from the headphone? Just my own, I'm just monitoring my own playing, as well as later I'll have some backing tracks for acoustic metal, and I can hear that too. William De Silva, what kind of music and theory schooling did you take? I did classical guitar lessons for about 6 or 7 years with a guy named Alvin Tung at Doctor of Music at University of Toronto. Theory schooling, not a lot. I mean, a bit of 4-part harmony and like just basic, I guess they call it Barbara Worm's Elementary Rudiments. I did that book, and then some theory and some harmony and history after that, but not tons. Curtis, Steve I. Is that the real Steve I, or are you an imposter, sir? Calvis Superman. I'm just reading off some names here. Curtis. Pepe, headphones for the metronome. Yep, good idea for recording. Alan, Winter by the Sea. Yeah, I'll do that later. I gotta warm up, unleash a few songs, get comfortable. It's always the first couple that you got to, settle into. Barbara, how you doing? Chris. Richard Barioni, best friend. I actually practiced that, believe it or not. On my previous stream, I didn't have it ready. I think I could do it. I did a Twitch stream on it. Level 40, have not practiced that one. Cream Dog, there's no backing track for it. And this is from, we'll just call him Rector, because I don't know how to pronounce the first part. Yeah, I don't have that one ready. The 7-string stuff, haven't really done it in a while, but I can Twitch some of it. I've done a little bit to sort of bring it back, because I haven't been doing 7-string lately. Pepe, you've never considered a song performance ready? Yeah, I mean, is this just a mental block? Pretty much. I mean, you just go through it and then trip a few times and then just keep doing it, and then I think you get a control over the anxiety. So even if you do trip up, you don't necessarily condemn yourself on the spot. That's the idea. And so it takes you have to be willing to look like a fool first, and even look like a fool in trying, and then that sort of, you iron that out over time, and then it doesn't emotionally affect you as much anymore. That's how that goes. Can you post a link? Yes, it's in the video description, channel 42069, the Twitch link. Warden Woods, Nicholas, yes. Blood and Ice, I could do some of it. Russian questions, I do not have access to. Maybe Google Translate that. No, I don't play Joe Satriani. Eugene, hello Brazil. Lucas, what's up? Having a good day. Kazakhstan, all right. From far away. Okay, so I'm going to do another one here. One moment. I got to turn off the chorus pedal to tune properly. I put a door stopper underneath my tuner to put it on an angle. You know those things that you slide underneath the door? It's a good idea. Otherwise, I'd have to stand up to see this. All right. Let's do Wash Away. I haven't had that one practiced. El Marto, Little Angels, yes. It's a fun tune. I'll do that a bit later, so let's see here. There we go, Wash Away, nylon string version. Hello, Bilijana. Or did I pronounce that right? I don't know. We need a Google search for proper translations that I can hit up on the fly. Put on Latin play time too. Yes, that will come eventually. Just going through some of these. I scroll back and check out the comments if there's anything I can address. In Her Dark Dance Devils. Yeah, I'll do that a bit later when I switch up guitars. Sutaruni S. Hello from the Netherlands. Hello from Canada. Eastern Canada, more specifically. Ice Winter Rock. Haven't done that in a while. Would you accept a couple of riffs from it? Just kind of chopped together. And then if it falls off the rails, I'll just tie it up really quickly and pretend that's how it's supposed to go. Just reading through here. Okay. Yeah, Eon Clanans. What is he currently playing, guys? That was Wash Away from my second album with Candy Rat, Ewan Dobson 2. Just reading through here. Free Spirit or Feathers and Snow. You know what I'll do, Mark? Andre, I'll do a Twitch stream on Feathers and Snow. Because I couldn't do the whole thing right now, but I'll do a Twitch stream. I Know Your Pain I can do later. I do it on the other guitar, though. This is my open C sharp major or C sharp minor. And to be more specific, open D tuning down a semitone. That's what I've done with here, with this guitar. Open C sharp major. Weston Sweet, thanks for sharing your bird experiences. Yeah, no problem. That's been something. I'm still working on the pileated woodpecker. It's not the friendliest of birds. I think it's one of the more shy ones. It doesn't like to hang around other birds or people, but we'll break through eventually. Hey Matt, how you doing? All right, so one thing I get asked about sometimes is to play Motion Potion. This will be another one of the another one of my little warm-up pieces. I use an Acoustic Glide. I bought this at the 12th fret in Toronto a number of years ago, and I switched to nylon string. I'll explain more about that later, but I used to use these steel finger picks, and I'll show them to the camera after this song. But I stopped using them because I guess the the speed at which I was using them, and then the aggressiveness of the attack, what that led to was just some discomfort. I mean, one time I was doing a show, I think it was in 2016, and my third finger wasn't moving. And I think I just kind of got inflammation along a tendon. And that was from, I guess, the snapping motion of the steel on steel, or the metal on steel. And it's sort of, what happens is the shock absorption travels up the finger into the tendon or whatever. So I just grew up my nails and relearned a lot of my stuff on nylon string. So normally you don't use a slide for nylon. Listen. It works. It's a little noisy on the bass strings, but you know, what can you do? Let's try motion potion. So it's a nylon string, motion potion. All right, so let me get out some of these. See, these are the finger picks that I used to use. Now let me just pull up the monitor screen so I can see what I'm doing here. Hold on. And I'll move the mic out of the way so I don't breathe into it too heavy. Whoop. There. So those are the finger picks that I used to use, and that was like the sound that I used to work with. But if you use them too much, with too much force and whatever, for some people it can cause injury. So for example, those of you that know of Leo Kottke, that's his story was similar, like with the finger picks leading to a necessary change of style. So that's what happened to me. Eventually I was like, well, you know, and it was actually a good thing because it forced me to like expand and play other things and go back to my classical training and so forth. And it was overall a good transition for me anyway. So So now I'm going to change over to my other guitar, and I'm going to turn off the, I'm just going to mute my video and audio for 1 sec, just so it doesn't, you know, when I move, these mics all shake and stuff. So 1 second, I'll be right back. I just need to switch up guitars, all right? 1 moment. There we go. Let me just tune up now. Oh wait, gotta turn that off. Hold on. Put on a little bit of octave pedal just to get some. All right. Pull up the chat window again, see if anyone's saying anything. Answer a couple questions before I go on. Surf Zombie 2, what do they call that tube on your finger? That's called a slide. And particularly the brand is called Acoustic Glide. Geraldo, hello Brazil. Legend of the Brown Goat, yes, we can do that. I just need to go through a couple more, but yes. Hot Lunch, we have another Dobson in the house. We may be related. Enemy's Nemesis, how you doing? He's from Twitch, I remember that name. What kind of guitar is this? This is a Godin Multi-Act Duet Ambiance nylon string. And so I prefer it for live use. Like for recording in the studio, I'll use like maybe an actual, like I guess a full acoustic nylon classical string. But for live use, I find this is quite, does the job quite nicely. It's excellent. It's easy to travel with too. And the new 7-string guitar did not come today. UPS is delayed and I had to wait till Monday. So that's how that went yesterday. I was waiting till like 7 o'clock and then I called UPS and they're like, well, it could come up to 8 o'clock, but I wouldn't get your hopes up or anything. So I'm like, wait till 8 o'clock and nothing. So I'm like, all right, forget you. Springing back to life. How did you know? How did you know that was what I was going to play? So that is just another Nguyen? Is that how you pronounce that? I'll have to look that up after. Okay. we go. I should turn down the octave pedal a little bit. It was a little too present. But it helps just to have like a little touch of it in the bottom for the low end. Let's turn that down a little bit. One more, and I'll tune up to open C minor. Let's go in here. What do we got? Great to hear you of Leo Kottke. Ever heard of Hayseed Suede? No, haven't heard that. Clarence, haven't heard that one. Scenic Curve. Time and Tool will come a bit later. What string action do you prefer on nylon string? I mean, the best negotiation between, you know, easy to play, but also so you can put some power into it without it buzzing back. So that's considered a classical setup as opposed to a flamenco setup. Flamenco setup is more like low action with a bit of buzz because they use that buzz as part of like the rhythmic attack. So I prefer closer to a classical setup. Going through to Hello Brazil, Geraldo, Severo. How do you determine which alternate tuning you decide to use when writing? I just started with OpenC and worked from that as well as OpenD because those were the general ones. And when I got into fingerstyle, it was because of Leo Kottke. So I just picked OpenC, which is what he uses in a number of them. But he just uses OpenC down like a tone or 2 tones and a half or something. He does a super low version of low C. You know, technically, I guess it might be Open A in some cases, maybe Open B. But same interval structure of the tuning itself. Where am I from? Canada. I'm in New Brunswick right now. Hot Lunch 4011. New Brunswick. I live in the country. That's why the stream quality isn't high definition, and it's because I have a limited upload stream. When you get internet in the country, well, where I live, it's basically a 7 megabit DSL, so you get like 700 or 800 kilobytes down, 70 or 80 kilobytes up. And so the deal with that is obviously it's going to limit how many the bit rate I use when doing streaming. How far do you have your strings up? Would you consider it a bigger gap than normal? How far do you have your strings up? Do you mean the gap between the strings? If that's the case, then I think this is traditional classical spacing. I think its nut width is like 2 inches. I think that's what that would indicate. 2-inch nut width or 1.9, but I'm pretty sure this is 2. I think so anyway. Any quick tips on posture and holding the guitar? I'm trying to adjust my form for ergonomics. Chris DeJong, well, see, because I have long legs, I have this high bar stool, and then I have this quite a high footstool. It's actually a small table that I bought it at a garage sale down the road. And so, high chair, high footstool. I prefer, I guess I prefer a footrest for my left leg for this sort of thing. And relaxation is important. I mean, you work that out through the first few pieces you play. Talk, kind of let it go, let some of the adrenaline pass through your system, and then you just kind of chill out, if you can. So relaxation being the goal. Chris DeJong, in terms of posture and holding it, yeah, I mean, straight back is good, but I mean, when you're playing, you're going to be moving around, and you might get into a position where you're leaning, and then you might remember it when you're playing and go, oh yeah, and then straighten up, and then sludge back down at some point, and so that sort of thing might happen. Ben R, happy belated birthday. Thank you. What was the first full song I learned? Well, probably Crazy Train. Well, no, probably something like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. You want to go way back, but I mean, like, first full song. Like when I was 8, like playing the one-liners out of the book just to learn how to read music. All right, so I'm just, is my guitar broken because it didn't sound anything like yours? Oh, well, hope not. That would be unfortunate. All right, so let's continue. What does it sound like with the octave pedal? This is a TC Electronics sub and up octave pedal. I find you put just a little bit in the mix. There's other guys that do this too. It just gives it a nice low end kind of touch when you're plugged in. I'm going to try a song called In Her Dark Den Dance Devils. There we go. Let's move this a little bit because the sound actually comes out of this area more than down there. Quick tune up. T Janth, My Nightmare. Yes, that's in the same tuning as it, so it's easy for me to play that. Surf Zombie 2, where's the best place to buy our music? For Candy Rat releases, from Candy Rat, and otherwise, just through my website. If you go to the store, I think CD Baby used to offer them directly, but then they basically stopped their store. So anywhere, really. I guess Amazon, that's the only place that really, the easiest place anyway. What do we got here? Which of your songs do you find most difficult? I mean, ones that I used to be inspired to play that required a lot of practice. This is Kenneth asking the question, Kenneth Krause. So songs become difficult when you're outside the window of practicing them and bringing them up to level. You know, it's kind of like a stove. You got 4 rings. You can only put so much on it. So, I mean, whatever songs I have cooking up that are ready to play, I mean, the difficult ones are the ones over here that are like not cooking. Especially if they're, you know, they're technically challenging. Some Paganini, like I can do the 24th caprice now, I've been practicing that, but the 5th, haven't played in a long time. So that's difficult now because I don't, you know it as well as I did. Fragments of it are still in my mind, but not overall. So yeah, the ones that are most difficult are the ones that are not cooking presently. Especially if they require like a certain type of energy or pep that comes from like a previous chapter in your life. It's sort of like if you were really excited about you know, like when you're inspired to play a certain song, you're excited about it. That excitement and the love for it in the moment is an energy that kind of carries you and it gives you the energy to play the song. Outside of that, it can be more difficult to summon this energy to play it. It's not impossible, but I mean, that's one of the elements that can make it a little more difficult to do. Pudentane. Which has longer tuning life, steel or nylon? Tuning life? Probably steel. I mean, well, is it so? Well, nylon bounces around tunings when the strings are new. But if they're too old, then the intonation starts to go out because of the warping in them or whatever. All of the grooves or whatever. I know your pain. Yeah, we can do that. That's not a problem. Inspiration for people in Brazil. Julio, glad to hear it. And Tony Haven is cooking some dinner. Enjoy. Internal microphones for guitar. A Russian name, I can't pronounce those quite well. Have I tried them? Yes. For a classical guitar, if it's just a full acoustic guitar, I prefer just a mic. The problem with some of the internal microphones is I found that they favor the trebles or the basses, one or the other more than the other, unless it's a blend system. But I've had guitars where if you blend too much one way, too much the other, it's one or the other. Either the trebles are clear or the basses are clear, something like that. What kind of headphones? These are, hold on, what are these? I don't know. They're brown headphones. I don't know what they are. But they're good. You can have two sources at the same time. So I got one in here, but if I wanted to get like another audio source, I could plug it in the other ear and blend them. That's what I do know about them, other than the fact that they're brown. Dancing with Her 2010. Can I play the one? It's in the other tuning. If I don't do it today, we'll do it on Twitch. Blood and Ice. Smoke Grass. Nah, makes me anxious. Not my thing, but knock yourself out. Do I like metal? If so, which bands? This is Andrea Oliani. I used to listen to Children of Bodom, In Flames. When I was really young, from the ages of 11 to 20, there's, I guess it was Metallica, Megadeth, White Zombie, Sepultura. Who else did I've seen all these bands. Carcass, saw Cannibal Corpse. But I don't listen to metal presently. I listen to Scarlatti. Right now I have the complete works on my MP3 player. How many hours do you practice in a day? Well, on and off, half an hour to an hour, a bit of a break, half an hour break. Sometimes a couple hours, sometimes 8 hours. And if I have lots of outside yard work to do, sometimes half an hour. I'll do a bunch of work outside, come in and be like, whoa, I got to put in a half hour before we have a full day without playing. Studio quality internal mics. Well, we could try it. I'm not sure how to read that name. Sapera? That's probably not how you pronounce it, but that's how I would read it if I didn't know how to pronounce it. You could send an email through my website. Maybe I could check it out. But we'll see how that goes. Italy. How you doing, Italy? Yes, I saw Mustaine and Friedman live a few times. In the glory days. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do now... Oh, Fulvio, do I no longer compose for classical guitar? Well, I guess not right now, but I wouldn't say that that's a state of permanence, because I do like to go back to that. I don't know what a meme song is, Antonio. What's a meme song? I'm behind the times, I live in the forest. How do I keep myself motivated? I think I just accept when I'm not motivated. And practice anyway and go, well, maybe I don't need to feel that way to do this, and do it anyway. What are you doing with those birds? Feeding them by hand, and that's Pataki Gabor. I'm feeding them by hand. It is a joy of mine. All right, so let's do a song called Plum and Pear, and then we'll start going. And then I want to do Little Angels, Dreaming in Dortmund. Then I can do, what is it? A couple of the other ones. All right. Let me just turn up the volume on this. Cool. Here we go. Never used a Chapman stick. No, I didn't. Here we go. This is Plum and Pear. Plum and Pear, for those of you that want to know the name. All right, so let's go up here, because this is flying off while I'm playing here. If I start looking at what I'm playing, I'll forget what I'm doing, because then I'll start reading, and then the other part of my brain kicks in, and then I see the part of my brain that's playing guitar and then reading, and I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do. And then the train goes off the tracks, and you know how it is. Ricardo, have I played Arobas? Yes, Etude 1, Etude 11, Prelude 1, Prelude 4. Is that right? Yes. Prelude 1, Prelude 4, Etude 11, Etude 1. That's it, though. That's all I did for Arobas, but I can't play it now. I haven't practiced that in a long time. Who are my guitar heroes? Well, I had lots. Marty Friedman, Paul Gilbert. I saw Steve Vai a couple times, Joe Satriani. You know, and then I guess in the late 90s, was it? Early 2000s, there was a new wave of shredders that came out. I listened to some of them. Who were they? If I recall correctly, George Bellis. I also liked Michelangelo as well. All sorts. Okay, I could do a whole 10-minute, 20-minute talk about that. Favorite song to play? Hard to say. I mean, I have favorites. This is Joshua Thompson. What's your favorite song to play? I have different styles of songs. So my favorite classical stuff might be some Scarlatti. Favorite finger style might be like Little Angels, but it changes though, right? Because I'll play them so much and then I'll lose that feeling of, you know, yeah, I'm having a great time playing this, right? It's kind of like if you read the same story enough times, you may not be as excited about reading it again. Anything else? Scrolling down. A riff or two of something you might be working on. Oh, okay. This is Hey There, Mogwai. What does it go again? There it is. That's something I'm working on. As you can see, hasn't taken full form yet. Mega Man 2. DB47. Have I committed myself to music and birds? I guess I have, haven't I? The pictures prove it, don't they? What's the model of guitar you're playing right now? From Picture of a City. This is a Godin multi-act nylon string. Specifically, the model is a Duet Ambiance. And I'm also getting a Godin multi-act 7-string. I would have had it today, but UPS is, you know, bogged down at the time, for the time being, we'll say. Have I ever listened to Sean Lane, Dee Dee says? A bit, but he wasn't one of the main ones I listened to, but I definitely know about him, and all the electric guitar fans definitely do. Music and birds sound like a good life to me. Yeah, I know the birds are really, that's a lot of fun. If you want to see that, there's links in the description if you want to find out about the bird experience and the bird feeding that I've been doing. I wrote a book on it, and so you can find the link in the description. Improvise. I sort of did a minute ago, but I kind of like to practice what I'm going to play. Do I plan to play live regularly? Well, streaming? Yeah, I've been doing that on Twitch as well. So, yes. Olive man. Favorite bird? Pileated woodpecker, enemy's nemesis. Pileated woodpecker, definitely a favorite of mine. They're difficult to get close to, though. They're really, well, it depends, though. I mean, some of them, the ones around here are. And one of the reasons is that the trees around here are very ideal for woodpeckers. There's a lot of insects in them, so all year round they can sustain themselves, which is why they don't go to feeders very often. So that's added to the challenge of my dream of wanting to feed one. Okay, so Steve, when I'm writing something, do I think of it in terms of the technique or just the flow of the music? I just kind of go with the riff. The technique would come in, for example, if I hear a melody in my head that I want to translate to guitar, but it doesn't necessarily fit the fingers well, and that's where you have to practice it, because you know sometimes you're writing something, then the melody that you want to play doesn't necessarily fit the fingers very well. It requires like arranging it specifically, certain left hand, right hand fingering, position shifting, and so forth. And that's where you kind of have to do the work to fit it into place. All right, so what I'm going to do now, I was thinking of playing Dreaming in Dortmund. because I've been working that up to playable levels. So let's try that one out, and then we'll keep on chatting and stuff in between. Sorry if I talk fast, but that's how I address all these, questions. I have to sort of be motor mouth and, approach it like that. Do I like Celtic folk? Yeah, I think I do, yeah. But I mean, I wouldn't say I'm an expert in the matter. All right, here we go. Dreaming in Dortmund. Octave pedal. There you go. There we go. That was Dreaming in Dortmund from my second album. One second. Let me turn up this mic and get a swig of water so you don't hear the sound of me drinking water. Although you might get it through this mic here. I'll try and keep it down. There we go. Much better. Turn this back on. So let's go through a couple of questions again. Can I play Mario World game? Not the soundtrack, which is what I think you're getting at, although I have played the game previously. Hey there, Storm. Yeah, I'd like to go to Brazil too, but that's been, that's a booking challenge, you might say. My brother just bought his first guitar. Can you give a tip? Well, that's a tough one. I mean, find the music you want to play and aim at that. And then don't be worried about playing simple stuff. It's normal. Don't try to rush ahead. And don't be too eager to play advanced things right out of the gate. Okay, going down. Danute, man, I thought it was at 2. Well, it actually was at 2 for me because of the time zone I'm in. I'm in Atlantic time, so it was at 2 for me. I don't know, maybe you, who knows? Broken telephone got you? Not quite sure. DB47, no. Dreaming in Dortmund was from Ewan Dobson too. Were you thinking of playing Through the Roof again at some point? Okay, yeah, I think I could probably do that. Not Jackie Chan. Hello from Russia. Hello. Marley, Danette says Marley did that at the beginning. So when this is done, just go back to that. I mean, sorry, just view this video afterwards and go to the beginning. Do you do gym? Well, no, I'm not like one of those beefcakes that kind of goes regularly and, eats, the whole jug of protein powder. But I do, try to keep up some running, and I got a pull-up bar out back, do some push-ups and stuff, right? But I haven't graduated into the beefcake department, just so you know. Have you heard of the music of Greg Joy? No. Is it true that Mega Man inspired my level 5? Justin, yeah, I would say it did. I think there's because just the way that it has the little rhythms going, and then the melodies that are in thirds on top. Yeah, I would say yes. Thank you for the window into your head to these awesome melodies and rhythms. No problem. Hello from India. Hello. Oh, okay, gotcha. Denant Man is Oni Washinobi. Gotcha. There, a little bit up. Okay, let's do that. Let's do a lovely light, shall we? All right, let's do that. Let's do a lovely light. Let me just move this footstool here. I'm sliding it away. Okay. Am I doing any work not related to music? Kirsten. Well, I mean, I did some gardening, so I mean, that's sort of work. I actually harvested some squash yesterday. 6 butternut squash and 3 spaghetti squash. A few were finishing, and I actually ate my own spaghetti squash today. And I do lots of yard work and maintenance work and so forth. So I do actually do work that isn't related to music. Okay. Let me just think here for a second, realign my thoughts. was a lovely light. Let me just, the bass string fell down a little bit. All right, so not Jackie Chan asked for Through the Roof. Haven't played it in a couple of days, but let's just see how it goes. Move that a little bit there. Let me just, what's that one riff? I think I'm able to do some of it anyway. Are the leaves changing color up in New Brunswick? Yep, no, they are. I'm seeing it. It's going on. And Janice Zielinski, did you ever use a slide on guitar? Yes. So at the end of this stream, you can rewind it, and you'll see me using a bit of it on a nylon string. Nicholas, I was more inspired by Leo Kottke. Like with the fingerstyle guys, I think in the Candy Rat realm, it's generally speaking, not absolutely. Michael Hedges derived inspiration, Tommy Emmanuel inspiration, and Chet Atkins. Those are the three. You know, there's others, but I mean those I can sort of generalize, and those three tend to be the players kind of erupt from those different schools. I was more inspired to get into fingerstyle by Leo Kottke. He was the first one I heard where I was like, oh, I might be able to actually use the classical playing knowledge or technique that I have to go in that direction. Yes, I played Dreaming in Dortmund, the box. I did earlier. Yeah, I guess I am endorsed by Godin, William De Silva. Yeah, because they give them to me at, artist endorsement price, so I guess so, yeah. Evertune. Don't know what that is, but I'll look into it. Have you played Music to the Birds? No, I haven't. I think they're super sensitive, right? So you got to be very still. Sounds that are they're not used. Sounds that they aren't used to will scare them away. Watermelon, maybe on nylon string. Craig Harrison. Can I play Watermelon by Leo? I used to play 12 string, not anymore because of the fingerpick issue that I spoke about earlier. Okay. Let's try Through the Roof for not Jackie Chan. But no guarantees on it. I just got to remember that one part. How's it go again? Let's try it. There we go. The through the roof nylon version. They actually, it was requested at a previous live stream, and I didn't do it on the first one. But then I started twitching it. That's what they call it, twitching it. Yeah, I was twitching it. I've never used that adjective before. That's how it's used, twitching it. Yes, I was twitching it. On a Twitch stream. Alright, so let's go through a couple more. How often do I do lives? I have a schedule. No, this is Scenic Nerf. When it comes to doing lives, I just kind of, depending on how I'm feeling in the evening, I'll just think, oh, I'm practicing this piece. Okay, let's, what I'll do is I'll stream a practice session, and sometimes it's of a piece that I haven't played in a while, so I'll start it up, play it slowly, and by the end of the session, I will have brought it together to a certain degree, and then so people can see how I, pull pieces up out of the muck, so to speak, right? Fall of Man is played on a 7-string, yes, Frank. Do I listen to Leo Kottke? Yeah, actually, I have a couple songs in my MP3 player, now that I think of it. Stuff from the album's 6 and 12-string guitar. Yeah, no more hat in terms of, as a regular thing. I can only tolerate it for so long, so in some ways I'm glad it's only for one song. All the demons in my house have been slain. Glad to hear it. Okay, so that's not Jackie Chan throwing in another bit into the pot. All the demons in my house have been slain. Excellent. And Weston Sweet, have to leave you now. Always great to see you live. If you were out touring, I'd be buying tickets. Good luck with the Pileated Woodpecker. Thank you very much. I mean, I've done everything you can imagine one could do to try and summon a Pileated Woodpecker. I mean, I've done everything except for go down and try and talk to the medicine man about it. I mean, that's the last thing I guess what I'll have to do. I'm gonna have to find one. All right, so some of your tunes remind me of classic video game music. Have you drawn inspiration from video games? Punches S. Yes, I would think so, but it's sort of a chicken or the egg thing, because video game composers, a lot of them were actually, as far as I can tell, based on what I'm hearing, like prog rock fans. So these Japanese composers, I'm pretty sure they had to have been listening to prog rock, something like that. And I think they were actually inspired by it. And then when you take that influence and you convert it into a MIDI, I think that's what video game music is. It's like prog rock, prog metal influence, 80s metal influence, and the chord progressions therein translated into a MIDI format. Something like that. Can I say something about the Godin guitar? Yeah, it's great. Love it. Godin multi-act duet ambiance. It's got a 5-way blend switch and a couple of EQ settings, so it's like a mixture of like a couple pickups. Patrick, will I be doing any concerts in New Brunswick? Possibly at a place called, what's it called? Is it called the Tipsy Muse? Is that right? Yeah, Tipsy Muse. I played there earlier, maybe a month or two ago, and they're thinking of doing another, bring me back for another show. So it's not carved in stone yet, but it's a possible likelihood. Do I smoke cigarettes? No. Used to. I mean, I went on and off of them, but glad to say that that's no longer occurring. Do I have a love song? No. No, I wouldn't say that I do, but maybe not a romantic love song. You might say I have love in my songs. Some of them. Well, it depends. We can get into that discussion a bit deeper later. Do you ever pick up the electric guitar anymore, Craig Harrison? No, I don't pick it up anymore. Craig Harrison, no wait, yeah, okay. Michael Morrow, play some Leo Kottke. I can do for that right now. What do you have mutual with straw hats? Oh, that was, why do I have one? It's pretty much, the story of the Time 2 hat is pretty much, someone I knew at the time in Toronto was going to the Canadian National Exhibition for some sort of flea market thing where they have all sorts of products from various nations. It's a huge exhibition. And I said to her, she said, do you want anything? And I said, well, I'm doing videos this week for Ewan Dobson too, because I just finished recording and then I'm going back into the studio to do the videos. So I said, because I'm all about getting cheaper costumes, right? Because if you try to get costumes for videos, you'll find out very quickly. I mean, you go to a costume store, you're like, how much is this? They're like, that's $2,000. Okay, never mind, forget this. So I'm like, forget it. We'll go to the karate store. We'll go to, and then so back up a little bit. She was going to this exhibition and she said, do you want anything? And I said, well, if they have a rice farmer's outfit, including the hat, grab that. Surely enough, for whatever reason, they had one. She brought it back, and then that's how I just decided to wear it for the Time 2 video, and then that happened. So that's pretty much the story behind the hat. Somewhat random, right? Because I wanted to do costumes just for fun. But like I said, they're quite expensive, so they're budget costumes, right? That's how that rolls. Budget costumes. Makes sense, doesn't it? It's all coming together now. It all makes sense now. I don't have intro, romance, and waltz ready. Something like that. Whatever. It's there. It's in my brain somewhere, but I don't know it. The blue and orange background on screen is Disastrauds. Oh, yeah. With the blue and orange? Or wasn't it like the green and purple and yellow? That was the seizure one, wasn't it? Witches in Black. I'll probably do a Twitch stream with some 7-string. I don't have a backing track for it. I played some of the riffs from Witches in Black on Twitch. But, okay, so let me just look down here, level 40. Do I like anime? Pataki Gabor. No, I can't say I do. I don't dislike it, but it doesn't draw me in. Blood and Ice. When I switch to the steel string, like, you know... I'll do it when I switch over to the steel string because it doesn't quite have the same effect. Hold on a second, taking a drink, turn the mic off. Good. All right, time for another song. I want to do a song called Little Angels, and then country style Etude and C, and then we can do some acoustic metal. What is the action on that nylon string guitar? This one's actually in between. I would say it's probably a flamenco setup. Yeah, I would say it's probably like classical a little higher because you want to put power in it without it buzzing, and you want to be able to go down to drop D. So this would technically be closer to a flamenco action setup as opposed to classical. And I think I answered it already, but yes, do I like anime? No, so I don't dislike it, but it doesn't draw me in. Okay, so Little Angels. There we go, Little Angels. A song about feeding birds. And again, I have to temporarily mute the mic. Well, this one anyway. Okay. So, I want to do country style etude and then maybe some acoustic metal. Let me just tune up again here. I got to turn up the octave pedal to do that. Oh, pretty good, staying in. Yeah, no, staying in. And let's turn that down. Good. Oh, sorry about that. Try it again. Little country style etude in C. That was country style etude in C. And the title was like, I wrote it, and I was like, what does that sound like? And every title I came up with, like, not too cheesy, too this. And I'm like, you know what, forget it. It sounds like country, so let's call it country style etude in C. Now, what else did I get a request for? Oh, I got a request for Brown Goat earlier. Legend of the Brown Goat. I should probably look at that. 1 second here, let's go through some of these. Can you try to order town theme from Heroes of Might and Magic 4? Yeah, no, I don't know that one. Scenic Curve? I don't play that particular game. The only game I play is Unreal Tournament, the new one. Do I have classical repertoire? Yes. The only one I've been practicing lately, this is Woodpecker, is Scarlatti K53. But if I'm going to play that live, I like to practice right up until it's time to play. Play that, do classical, and then switch. Because to go back to the classical guitar to pick it right up, I'd want to warm up a little bit to transition to the, because the feel of the classical guitar is a bit different than this. Do I have to disguise myself to get the birds to eat from my hand? No, but I wear a bug jacket, but they've eaten from the hand with and without it. So, I mean, maybe some birds, maybe it could be possible, but it's hard to say because ones that I thought, certain birds that I thought were, would only eat if I was in disguise, meaning wearing the bug jacket, have done it without. And then I've also had it where ones that I thought were super shy did it without the bug jacket. So not really, but if you consider a bug jacket that covers your face, but the hand is still there and they can, they're pretty smart. They can tell in terms of, they can usually look at something and say, that's probably a life form. One second here. Could you spell my name when I'm screen recording it? Oh, right. So this guy wants to record it and then show his friends. Okay. Patakigabor. There you go. One more second. All right. So what's that one I was going to do? I was going to do Legend of the Brown Goat because someone asked for it earlier, and I did a Twitch stream where I practiced it for an hour and a bit. Let's see here. we go. That is Legend of the Brown Goat for whoever requested that. Couple more I'm just seeing here. Comments. Yeah, I'm not sure who requested Brown Goat. Punches S. These are actually my real fingernails. I don't like fake ones. See, the problem with fake nails and acrylics is that, you know, you wear them out, you got to get more put on. The problem is that they often, for acrylics, they have to like sand down the surface of your fingernail, and it makes it really thin, and then it just feels gross when they keep on, you know, shaving it down. It gets really thin, the top of your fingernail. And then with the fake nails, you always have to, if half of the nail loses the stickiness of the glue, then you have to like rip it off, sand it down, glue another one, and I just don't like that. I don't like the feeling. I'll use them in emergency cases only. Matt P, do I have interest in playing shows in Germany? Well, sure. I've played a lot of shows in Germany, actually. I've driven all over Germany a couple times on tour and enjoyed it. Yeah. So, yes, but I mean, all things considered, there's a few, to actually arrange that might take a little bit. Because they usually book like a year in advance, right? Sometimes 2 years. Some venues book 2 years in advance. So I don't even will I even be the same person in 2 years? I don't know. All right, hold on a second here. Not Jackie Chan. Your music feels like going on a quest. This isn't for you. It's for food for the friendly creatures you come across. All right. Will do. More black oil, sunflower seeds. Is what boring to me? I don't know what the I don't see a context. I'm not sure. My Nightmare. Did I do Nightmare already? Did I do My Nightmare? No, I don't think I did. Okay, so we'll try that one now that I'm... One second here. Octave pedal off. Let's do My Nightmare. I've been to Budapest once. If I recall correctly, that was a 7-hour drive from... Where was I before that? I forget. Oh no, maybe I drove from Slovakia, so it wasn't so far. But yeah, no, it was a good time. It was short-lived though. All I got to do was basically like admire the scenery on the way in and out, and then just play and go to sleep and leave. So Mr. Larajai, or if the J is supposed to be pronounced with an H sound, Mr. Larahai, perhaps. There's no story for it, actually. No. was playing that, I started thinking about the Marley harmonics, and I went to do that, and I was like, oh, wait a second. It's the other one. Bringing It Back to Life, did that earlier. Where Are You? Okay, that one I can do, Time One. Okay, so let's do a mix-up of Time One and Where Are You? Because, I mean, they're similar chord progressions, like variations. We could even say that one is a variation of the other. Do I like Furch guitars? Well, I have one. I prefer the Stonebridge, the older ones. I mean, I prefer Stonebridge myself. So let's do a mix-up of Time One and Where Are You? And let's go over, there's one other here for level 40, Cameron Anderson. Okay, so here's what I can do with that. Go to my Twitch. I'm going to be doing I'll practice stream, because another person asked for another song that I don't have ready, which is Feathers and Snow. Level 40, don't really have it ready, so I can do a practice stream on those two on Twitch. But we'll, over the next couple of weeks, like, next to my Twitch, I'll pick one song and then work on that, in front of people. I show the process of how I'm like, oh, what's that note there? And I forget this part, and I'll show how it comes together. Hold on a moment. What are the Mars? What do you think are the best exercises for improving dexterity and the reluctant ring and pinky fingers? Well, exercises. I don't know. Music that requires their use, that's enjoyable to play. That's probably the best answer, because you need to have music you like to play. Otherwise, if you get stuck in, the technical exercise hole, I mean, you might question what you're doing after a while. You might get really good at them, but I mean, the energy that comes from being inspired to play something because you really want to play it, because you love it and you want to achieve playing it, that sort of drive is a really good, we'll call it, it's basically works in your favor to have that at the same time, that sort of inspiration, and the will to do it is kind of amped up by the fact you love the music. Oh, the word I was looking for was asset. It's a valuable asset. And so your question is basically improving dexterity. The best asset for that is music that requires their use and requires the dexterity to play the piece. That in conjunction with the inspiration to play the music, because that's going to give you the energy needed to, it gives you drive, it gives you pep. The fact that I love that music, I want to play that. You need to find that in the mix. Exercises might be good just for, before you do a show or before you play for someone or record or something. Okay, hold on a second, let's roll up here. All right, so this guy likes Time better than Time too, so we'll do that with bonus stage, aka Where Are You? Marcio, what age did I start playing? 8. It was October of 1989. I was 8. I had been 8 for 1 month at that time. If you could only keep one guitar, nylon versus steel, that's a tough one. I kind of like going, I don't know, maybe a nylon, because then I could do fingerstyle stuff and classical, whereas, yeah, that's tough. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Another drink before I start this one. Oh yeah. Okay, now did this guy say anything? No. Okay, so that was just Eduardo. Thank you. Don't see a question there. Tyler Ecker, get a Ewan Dobson tattoo. Well, maybe get a bird or something. I mean, right? Because then if you have my name or my face, that'd get weird after a while. Imagine me, like, all for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? Think about it. I mean, I'd laugh for a little while, but then I'd be like, was that really necessary? And then people are like, so who's that guy? I'm like, oh, let me tell you a story. Yeah. And then they'd say, why did you let him do it? All right, so bonus stage, aka Where Are You? And time. So let me think here. What should we start off with? Let's start with time and then go to, where are you? Okay. Hold on, it's out of tune. Oh yeah, that's the one. Okay, here we go. Let's try that again, shall we? kind of crossed it with time at the end there, but you get the general idea. It's a similar riff. The what does it go again? Similar thing, but you get the idea. That's time with Where Are You? That last the similarity in the riffs was throwing me off. There you go. That's the proper Where Are You riff. Now, what else we got on the what else we have on the list here? Okay, so we got a couple things coming in here. I'm gonna get a Ewan Dobson tattoo. Yeah, we talked about that. Just remember, imagine me smiling forever. Every time you go in the mirror, you're like, there I am. Sven Bowles, thank you. Thanks for being what appears to be a pair with a headband. Okay, this is what I'm seeing here. A pair with a headband, looking at itself in the mirror, smiling. No problem. I'm glad I could be a pair, looking at itself in the mirror, smiling, with hearts rising above my head. DB47, don't spend it all on bird food. A little support from Finland. Thank you, DB47. Appreciate it. What is this song, or you just improvised that part? Well, I guess it kind of sounded like I was improvising it because the two riffs are similar, and so I was trying to medley them, and then so my mind was going back and forth between them because I hadn't played it in a while, but yeah. Okay. Anything else on the list here? Alright, so what I think I'll do, I'm going to switch up guitars, and we're going to start with some acoustic metal stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut off the camera and the mic for temporarily just while I switch guitars. So, I mean, these mic arms here, I mean, you just touch them and it sounds like the earth is opening up. So I'm going to spare you the apocalyptic soundtrack, and we'll see you in one moment. There we go, I'm ready. 1 second here. Okay, where did that go? Here you are. So I'm going to apply some GHS fast fret. It just helps me get rid of that, you know, if I have that clammy feeling when you first pick up the guitar after it's been sitting down. It makes it sort of a less clammy sort of feeling. There. Hello, Joe Claudio Pagota from Brazil. What tuning was I in? That was Open C, Benji, Open C. Saw you live in Chicago. Oh, I remember that. Yeah, I played there twice at a place called Martyrs, I believe. And then once at, what was that, something studio? A place close to Chicago, but I forget the name of it. Oliver, is this a weird looking classical guitar? The other one, perhaps. It might be considered weird looking. Yeah, so Mojo knows how cool the duet ambiance is. I'm also getting a 7-string nylon multi-act that I'll be checking out. Okay, Ladies Man, it's a 7-string thing. I don't have the, and that's Brandon asking for it. I don't have the backing track for it. You know, it's sort of like 3 guitar layer thing, or 2 layers. Okay, so acoustic metal time. Cartuli, yeah, no, I haven't played that in a really long time. Yeah, and I forget the rest of it, but I could maybe I could revisit that one. It's written by a composer in Georgia. It's from an opera called Daisy, I think, but I forget the name of the composer. Anyway, I know which one you're talking about there. Haven't played it in long enough. Haven't played it in a long time. 8-string acoustic. Frank is asking, am I upgrading to 8-string acoustic? Probably not. 7's more than enough. Like once you get down to like an 8-string, it's like, I don't know, too low, I think. Yeah, I don't need to play that low of a pitch. Okay, anything else here? Okay, so let's do, I need to warm up on the steel string now, because I did the, finger style thing, and now I have to sort of, now I have to work to warm up on the steel string. So we're going to start off with Perfect Eternal, Tyler Eckersing, Autumn Red. Yes, that'll happen. Jolly good. All right, jolly good. Let's do it. Is this one in standard tuning, says William. Drop D, close enough. So, okay, I have to feed the backing tracks from here. So this is Perfect Eternal. These are the backing tracks with my other guitar parts and Zach Bevilacqua on drums. We did Acoustic Metal 1 and 2 in 2013 and 2015. Okay, here we go. There we go, Perfect Eternal. Hold on a second. And then we'll do, what was it? Autumn Red. That's what we're going to do next. All right. One moment. Autumn Red from Acoustic Metal 1. There we go, that's Autumn Red. And what do we got here? Cheerio, 1, 2, 3. That does indeed sound, see it says pounds. So Cheerio is a very English thing to say. So it does make sense that you would be donating in pounds. Converts on one side, acoustic shredding on the other. Yep. Marcio. Yeah, glad you forgot about that for the time being. And what else do we got here? Oh, right. He slayed the demons earlier, now you summon them again. Says not Jackie Chan. I know your pain too. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's ready. But if you go to my Twitch, what is it? I know your pain too. Feathers and Snow. Level 40. I have to practice those ones on Twitch. I've got a signed copy of Acoustic Metal in a special spot on my shelf. One of the only CDs I've kept. Oh, cool. See here. You can try it. Version of Winter by the Sea without the other guitar parts in there. Normally it has the harmonies. Just did it without it. I have to scroll down here. Hold on a second to scrolling down and checking it out. Spacewalk. Maybe later. That's still got a bit to do here. That was Winter by the Sea. Thank you, Eduardo Abate from Argentina. Hello, hello. Marty Ferguson, how's it going? Okay. Someone asked about Warden Woods earlier. I think I can do that one. Okay, so I'm going to do Warden Woods because someone asked for it earlier. Let me just make sure. Let me just go over the riff. Okay. Warden Woods. Warden Woods from Acoustic Metal 2. Is that in? No. one moment here. Oh, that's better. All right, so let me just think here. We'll just try to see how it goes. 24th caprice. All right, so that was a flat picking version of the 24th caprice. I mean, a lot of people like to do the, this part, because it's actually written an octave higher, so they'll do it with harmonics. It's sort of like that. But I mean, I find to really, it goes up so high that, I mean, it's very easy for that part to go off. I prefer just to, and have the full volume of the melody. A couple other guys do it the octave lower. That's why I do that particular part that way. Reading through here. Do I have an Instagram account? Actually, I do. And I got some bird posts on there and a poster about today. And I got it recently. I actually use I guess an app through, so you can access it through desktop PC rather than, because I don't have a smartphone. I have like a BlackBerry that's just pay as you go, and I only use it for, resetting passwords or in case of emergency or whatever. One second here, la la la. Paganini was the original metalhead. Well, I guess to a degree, he was the original, I guess, famous solo instrumentalist that created like a cult following in a phenomenal way. One second here. Chilling in a room. Wait, hold on. I accidentally scrolled down. I'm chilling in a room in Bangkok right now, 2:15 a.m. Cool, Thailand. Wow. Did you consider teaching at some art academy or university? No, I don't think so. I mean, I probably need more qualifications technically to do that. And I'm not sure, I don't know if they'd have like a Dobson course. I don't know, that'd be weird. Craig Harrison, beautiful playing. Ewan just subscribed to your Twitch channel and got a founder badge. Cool. Thanks very much, Craig. Okay, so we're getting some requests for Dr. Wiley. I might be able to check it out. Switch guitars. It might be a bit rocky, but I could do a bit of it. I mean, I pulled it up on a previous stream. Okay, so let's scroll back down. You have a BlackBerry, do you? Yeah, no, I don't have the smartphone thing going on. And plus, in my area, the cell phone service isn't very good. Like, in order for me, like, let's say, for example, I'm linking like my Twitch account to Discord or something. Twitch will, like, I have to get I guess a passcode sent to me, and I have to like go take my phone and put it like on the windowsill, the upper windowsill, so that it reaches the cell service. So that's another reason why I don't have the smartphone, because I wouldn't be able to use it. I'd have to like drive into town and sit there with it, Let's try this one. I'm feeling this one right now. Here, let's just warm up with this one, a Paganini Luca Sonata movement. There, now there's one I want to do. I just need to verify that let me just go over it quickly. see how it goes. That's Luca Sonata number 1. I really like the melody in that. And usually there's like it's a 2-movement thing. So he has like a lyrical, slower first movement, usually a dance movement or something for the second. This is Paganini I'm talking about. And usually for the second movement, he uses a folk melody of the region, so an Italian, English, or French folk melody. And so I'm going to do one more. This is Luca Sonata number 2. Now let me just be sure of this one here before I begin. And get a drink first. Very good. All right, now let's see here about this one. Let's just go over the melody. Try it. Luca Sonata number 2. Lucas on number 2. Now there's this other one here called the English Country Dances with Variations that I really like. So I think I'll do that one and then switch it back and start wrapping it up. Let me just make sure I got this one. Let's try this. English Country Dances with Variations. Now I'm going to switch it up and we're going to wrap it up, I think, because I told the fellas at Candy Rat, you know, the channel owner, that I'd be going for, an hour and a half, 2 hours, and well, here we are at 2.5, so if you want to see more, I mean, I'll be streaming on my own YouTube channel from time to time, as well as Twitch, and then Twitch is where I kind of just air out the practice streams, maybe stuff that I haven't played in a while, it's not ready to perform. And so what I do in that case is I just I pull up the tab, like a similar thing to this stream, and I'll just go through the parts and learn it in front of people. You know what I mean? That way they can kind of hear parts of it they like. But it's hard, I can't bring all of the pieces into performability, you might say. Okay, so let me turn this off temporarily, and I'll switch guitars and we'll wrap it up. Give me one moment. Hold on 1 second here. Back by popular request. There's the hat. This is the original hat, actually. I had to write on the inside of it that this was the one because I had a couple others. So let me just tune up here. And I told you the story earlier in the stream about how I got this hat. So for those that want to know, you can sort of go through the stream, and I do tell the story. And I'll tell you about this exciting, cool new delay pedal I have. It's called a TC Electronic Triple Flashback Delay, and you can have 3 delays at once. Do I need them? No, but I might. In fact, I'm thinking. Hold on a second here. I'll give you an idea of it here. My voice will echo though because I have it hooked up to the board. Hello. This is how it sounds. There we go. Oh no, wait, I'm not plugged into the right channel. Much better. There we go. So it's a really present sounding delay pedal. Here we go. Let's see if we can get this going. There we go, slightly extended time too. Hold on, let me turn that off. Yeah, there we go. Let's take a look here, some more comments to do. MixCatCom Pete, thanks very much for chipping in. Ronnie asks for Motion Potion. That was at the beginning, closer to the beginning. You can find that by scrolling back on the video, or the stream rather. Matt DeMartin 5, thanks very much, man. Sutaruni S 10, thank you. All right, I think there's. I just need to check out something here on the folder if I have it ready. Where is it? Oh, here, let's try this one. This is called Surrender. I'll do this last one. It's from, what album is it from? I think it's from, yeah, it's from an album I did called The Pit of Despair and the Joy of the Trampoline. I just need a different delay setting though. This is the only the only other song I did with delay. So this is the last one I'll do today. And for other requests that I didn't do, just stop by Twitch and then I'll practice some of them in terms of, you know, ones that I don't have performance ready. Like Acoustometalis, I have a practice stream video of it, but it's not totally ready. So on Twitch, I can be more informal about it and be like, oh yeah, let's try this one out, you know? All right, let's try one more. Oh yes, the Misanthropin The broadcast quality is low because the internet deep in the country in Canada where I live has a very slow upload speed. That's why. Terribly sorry. I even called the phone company or the internet company about it, like, we're sorry, sir, there's nothing else we can do for you. Here we go, let's try this one out. right. One moment here, and I'll just hold on. Very good. So let's see. Yeah, during the beginning of that last song, I forgot the chord progression. I was like, what are we doing here? And then I went to like a dominant 7th chord, but it was supposed to be something else. But I fixed it up on the repeat. Sometimes it happens. So let me just read a couple things here before I sign off. And so here's the thing. Requests that weren't, and I didn't play, because I kind of go on a mix between like stuff that I feel comfortable playing, and then I'll grab a couple things that I think I can pull off, and then sometimes, what I'll do otherwise is just stream it on Twitch, and then I'll actually walk you through the whole practice process, like, first part, second part. I did that with Acoustic Metallis Plectris. I just kind of did a full, hour and a half of just practicing Acoustic Metallis Plectris, as well as Winter by the Sea, and a couple other ones. So just go to my Twitch, twitch.tv/Ewan_Dobson, and you can find it in the video description of this live stream. And so I'll be doing more streams on there, and then I can kind of be more informal and kind of like, in order to play songs I haven't played in a while, what I'll do is I'll like play what I know, and then when it gets rusty, I pull up the file and just kind of talk about it and stuff. So that's what I'll do. Jackrabbit, is this a nightclub? Where am I now? Yeah. Not Jackie Chan. Thanks for chipping in again. Appreciate it. Now let me just read a couple here before I sign off. Okay, hold on. What's the name of the song? GV. It's called Surrender. It's from an album that I did in 2016 called The Pit of Despair and the Joy of the Trampoline. And that was when I just got my hands on Fruity Loops, and I'm like, let's see what we can work with this and integrate delay pedal guitar into it, and that's what I came up with. Streaming here, scrolling down rather. Elon Musk said he would be getting high-speed internet to rural Canada. Really? Did he actually say that? I had no idea. Does that come with mandatory Neuralink as well? I'm just reading through here before I sign off to see if there's anything. Do I plan to go to Hungary? No, I don't plan to, but I would be open to the idea. I would be open to the idea, the opportunity rather. Vegetarian? No, I'm not. No, I'm not a vegetarian, but I don't know. Just so you know, that's Matt asking, am I a vegetarian? No. Okay, so I think that's it. I've gone through a bunch of comments. Thanks for coming and hanging out and chilling out here. Again, check me out on Twitch. I'll do random streams and go over stuff that I haven't played in a while. Why do Canadians say hoser? I don't know. I don't, though. So yeah, it started at 2. It's almost 5, so that's like 3 hours. Well, 2 for me anyway. So I should probably sign up, because I'm starting to feel like, that little tired feeling where as I'm focusing on what I'm doing, my brain is like splitting in 3 places. So thanks again, and we will see you again on another stream or on Twitch or on my YouTube channel. But thanks a lot. Hope you enjoyed, and if I didn't do your request, I kind of explained why, but there's lots of time to do it, right? Because we can't cover it all in one stream. We'll do it in a couple. And plus, since I got the equipment to stream now, and I figured out that I could actually stream with my very limited internet, I can make it a semi-regular thing. So, yeah, DB47, now eat. I was actually feeling that. Like when I was playing Time 2, I was feeling like my stomach was doing that thing where it's like, hello, you must pay attention to me now. Thank you, right?